Today we're comparing the iPhone 11 to the iPhone 15 Pro Max, and let me tell you, the difference is massive. Hey everyone, it's Andrew and welcome back to the channel. We'll compare specs, features, and if you're an iPhone 11 user, whether I think you should upgrade or not. It's been over 4 years since the iPhone 11 came out. And fun fact about the iPhone 11, somehow in the first half of 2023, it finished number 10 in the top 10 smartphones for global sales. It's pretty wild. Now, before we get started, make sure to give this video a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and let the showdown begin. We'll start with size, weight, and design. The height of the iPhone 11 is 5.94 inches with a 6.1 inch display, a width of 2.98 inches, a depth of 0.33 inches, and the iPhone 15 Pro Max is shockingly close with a height of 6.29 inches, a width of 3.02 inches, and a depth of 0.32 inches. The iPhone 11 is 6.84 ounces, and the 15 Pro Max is 7.81 ounces, about an ounce more. Now, comparing some of these things almost becomes comical. Like comparing the bezels, it's hilarious how thick they look on the 11. It looks like such a dated device considering it's only 4 years old. Another thing that can't be overlooked is the overall build quality of the 15 Pro Max being far superior to the 11. You get aerospace grade titanium on the frame of the device, ceramic shield on the front, and a textured matte glass on the back. Whereas on the 11, you get an aluminum frame and front and back glass. I've said it in other videos, but the iPhone 15 Pro Max is the best feeling phone that I've ever experienced with an iPhone. The contour edges, the soft titanium, and the weight are simply perfection. The iPhone 11 is actually quite comfortable as well, and it was the last version that the 11 and the 11 Pro that had that curved body to it that felt really comfortable in hand. On the 11, you get a power button, a SIM tray, the volume up and down buttons, and the mute switch. You get dual cameras on the back, which just looks so good, and probably still the best aesthetic choice for a camera system. You also get a lightning port. On the 15 Pro Max, you have a power button, no SIM tray for US models, volume up and down buttons, the all-new action button, and the all-new USB-C port. I feel like the iPhone 11 had some really fun colors: purple, yellow, green, black, which is the color that I have, white, and product red. 15 Pro Max, you get natural titanium, which is what I got, black titanium, blue titanium, and white titanium. Now, getting into displays, the display on the 11 is decent. You get a liquid retina HD display that supports 60 Hz refresh rate. You get the notch. And honestly, watching media, the notch is really noticeable. I had really forgotten about it. And 60 Hz is awful in third-party apps like Instagram and Twitter. I feel like it wants to pick up speed, and it just doesn't, and it's really slow. It's pretty hard to go back to a 60 Hz refresh rate display when you've experienced ProMotion. And I know a lot of people say the average consumer doesn't really care about that, but honestly, it's really noticeable. And I feel like the average consumer, if they try 120 Hz, would care. Now, for the 15 Pro Max, the display is stunning. The display is a Super Retina XDR display with ProMotion technology or 120 Hz refresh rate. It's an always-on display, so that's an added bonus. You also get Dynamic Island, which is a really helpful tool in some scenarios. And the iPhone 15 Pro Max is great for watching content and scrolling the internet, going on Instagram, Twitter, you name it. Some quick fire features that you get with the 11: emergency SOS, Face ID, 4G LTE, cellular connectivity, water resistance at a depth of 2 meters up to 30 minutes. For the 15 Pro Max, you just get a lot more. Emergency SOS via satellite, crash detection, roadside assistance via satellite, USB 3 support for faster transfer speeds, Face ID, 5G, water resistance up to 6 meters for 30 minutes, and MagSafe charging. A very big deal with how many accessories you unlock with MagSafe. And it's my go-to way for charging my iPhone. The 11 does support wireless charging, but wireless charging for me is just kind of annoying. The chips are quite different as well. The 15 Pro Max introduced the A17 Pro chip that supports a 6-core CPU, a 6-core GPU, and a 16-core neural engine. For most people, you're never going to use that much power on a phone, but it is pretty crazy to think that we have console-level games that can be played on iPhone now. The iPhone 11 uses the A13 Bionic chip with a 6-core CPU, a 4-core GPU, and an 8-core neural engine. I usually don't care about benchmarks, but in this case, we will do it. And this is the difference according to Geekbench 6. Both devices support the latest version of iOS, which is iOS 17. It's possible the iPhone 11 will get iOS 18. The only thing is, the iPhone 10 just stopped being seeded iOS updates, so we could be seeing the last year of the iPhone 11 getting updates. But we'll have to see. But iOS 17 runs smoothly on both, and I don't really have any complaints on either. For battery life, you get 17 hours of video playback on the 11 and 29 hours video playback on the 15 Pro Max. My wife was the person that used the iPhone 11 the most. She never got throughout the day. Like, her phone was constantly dying really quickly. Now for the iPhone 15 Pro Max, it lasts me throughout the whole day. I'm usually finishing the day out with 20 or 30% left on my battery. So no complaints there. Now for the camera, it isn't even close. There's just been so many upgrades to the Pro cameras and they've really become incredible. For the 11, like I said, you get dual cameras on the back. You get a 12 megapixel main and a 12 megapixel ultra wide camera. You do get portrait mode, which is nice to see. And optical zoom is a joke. You only get 0.5x and 1x optical zoom. That's not very good. It uses smart HDR2 and has night mode. You can still take great photos on this though. One thing that actually makes this a really good phone still is that you can record in 4K. For most of the first year of the channel, I actually used the iPhone 11 for recording. And so if you need a good camera, and the price will go over in a little bit, it's a pretty cheap phone, this isn't a bad option. Now, the 15 Pro Max is a beast of a camera and one of the best smartphone cameras ever made. You get a full Pro camera system, a 48 megapixel main camera with a 12 megapixel ultra wide camera and a 12 megapixel telephoto camera. Super high resolution photos at both 24 megapixels and 48 megapixels, next generation portraits with depth control, and optical zoom at 0.5x, 1x, 2x, and 5x. And you can also zoom in all the way up to 25x, but it doesn't look great. The camera uses smart HDR. Photos look crisp and stunning, the right color, and to what my eye is seeing, it looks really natural and right. Other things you get: better image stabilization, adaptive True Tone flash, uses a photonic engine, and offers a lot more during night mode with night mode portraits. You also get Apple Pro RAW, macro photography, and you can also use photographic styles to take the picture exactly how you would edit the photo. You can record in ProRes now up to 4K at 60 FPS. You can do HDR recording with Dolby Vision up to 4K, 60 FPS. You can do log recording, macro video recording, use action mode for better stabilization, and you can record in cinematic mode at 4K. Surprisingly, the front camera is almost the same. The 15 Pro Max gets HDR5 though, next gen portraits, cinematic mode recording, and HDR and ProRes recording as well. The speakers on the 15 Pro Max are stunning, super crisp, just really good speakers, and connectivity with Bluetooth devices and other Apple devices is very seamless. On the 11, the speakers are a little muffled and it just doesn't get super high quality. You can start to see when it gets very loud, it gets a little muffled. The 15 Pro Max starts at $1199, which is a lot compared to the iPhone 11, which starts at, from what I can tell, it's not sold by Apple, but other authorized retailers sell it at about $250 to $300. Starting storage for the iPhone 15 Pro Max is 256 gigabytes, all the way up to 1 terabyte. And for the iPhone 11, it's 64 gigabytes all the way up to 128 gigabytes. The iPhone 15 Pro Max outshines the 11, and it should, in every category. Better battery, better graphics, better storage options, better durability, and just an overall better phone and a massive upgrade if you're coming from the iPhone 11. I don't get that luxury because I upgrade my phone every year, so year to year it doesn't seem like a big jump. But when you look at this, 4 years, it's ridiculous. Like, there's so much more and it's so much better. So today, if I had an iPhone 11 and I wanted to upgrade, I would 100% get the iPhone 15 Pro Max. But I would say this, if you're younger, you haven't gotten a smartphone yet, and you're getting into the Apple ecosystem, or you want to get into the Apple ecosystem, the iPhone 11 is not a bad phone to start with. And that's the iPhone 15 Pro Max versus the iPhone 11. And you can see there's actually been quite a bit of innovation, even though Apple doesn't innovate anymore over the last 4 years. I did do a comparison of the 15 Pro Max to the 14 Pro if you want to check that out. Let me know in the comments which phones I should compare next. And as always, guys, thanks for watching. God bless, and I'll see you on the next video.